Welcome to Exploring with D-Rob. Let's go. Good morning, welcome back. I know it's hard to believe, but we're up in Red River Gorge again today. Today we're going to go check out Turtleback Arch. I'm going to check out a moonshine still in the area. And starting here at the Rockbridge Trailhead, I'm going to stop by Creation Falls and Rockbridge on the way. As I mentioned, starting at Rockbridge Trailhead today. Almost down to Creation Falls now. A little more direct route to Turtleback Arch would be to take the unofficial Turtleback Arch trail. If you've ever noticed a large pull off about a mile before you get to the Rockbridge Trailhead, be on the left side of the road. That's where the unofficial Turtleback Arch trail is. Also some campsites out through there. I'll leave some coordinates for where that is. That's just a little shorter route out to Turtleback Arch today. Figured since we was already in the area, check out Creation Falls, Rockbridge. Always a nice little hike. Then we're gonna head up Swift Camp Creek. Not far off of Swift Camp Creek Trail. So we'll find the moonshine still, and we'll head on out towards Turtleback Arch. Coming down on Creation Falls now. Kind of low flow, been pretty dry lately. Caught it after a little rain, I guess it was last week. Came down and photographed it, was able to get some swirls with the leaves. I'll try to remember to pop up a shot of what I came away with that day. I'll also put a link to this hike, my very first video, Creation Falls and Rockbridge. I'll put a link to that in the description so you can check it out for a little more detail on the Rockbridge loop. Coming down to the little overlook here, have a look over at Creation Falls. Got some pretty nice reflections in the water this morning. Got quite a bit of bubbles down there floating around. May go down and see if we can get a shot with some more swirls. We'll see what it looks like. Well, hadn't really planned on photographing Creation Falls today, but since I got my stuff and since we got some bubbles and stuff, maybe get some swirls, here we are. Well, as you can see, the sun's starting to peek through. Starting to get a little contrasty here around the falls. Came away with a few shots. I think turned out all right. Got some swirls. But let's head over to Rockbridge. Maybe catch a sunstar over top of Rockbridge. And just around the corner, here we are at Rockbridge already. Got some really nice reflections going on here in the water below Rockbridge. I'm gonna take a couple shots, see if I can catch that with the camera. Not looking like we're gonna get a sunstar today. Already spent more time at Rockbridge here than I wanted to. I was just gonna make this quick stop. I've wound up spending 10 or 15 minutes here already, so I'll give you a quick look at what I got here composed. Got these two trees, each on the left and right side there, kind of framing up Rockbridge. Got some nice reflections in the water. I'm gonna darken this down a little bit now. There's the shot. Photography always slows the hiking down. Oh well, it is what it is. Let's head on out towards the Swift Camp Creek Trail. As you come around past Rockbridge, doing the Rockbridge loop, come to this trail junction here. If you was doing the Rockbridge loop trail, you'd make a left and go uphill here. We're going to go check out some other features today. So we're going to stay straight right here and go up the Swift Camp Creek Trail. Definitely hasn't been anybody on Swift Camp Creek Trail here in I don't know, a day or two. I feel like I've done took out about 500 spider webs. Crazy. Not sure if you can see them or not, but there's some turkeys coming down the hill ahead of me here. Might be able to hear them a little bit. See if I can zoom in on him. It's been a little while since it rained, so I might mention that some sections of this trail do get a little muddy up through here. A few different little tributaries and branches run across the trail. Nothing too bad though. Pretty good trail up through here. As you come along to this section here, maybe a quarter mile from the junction with the Rockbridge Trail, you'll see a trail cuts down to the right here, heads towards Swift Camp Creek. That's not the actual trail, even though it is well beaten there. It's where a lot of people access the creek. The actual trail cuts uphill to the left here. That's the way we're gonna go. At 9/10 of a mile up Swift Camp Creek, the trail goes over away from the creek, comes up here, and we cross through Bearpen Branch here. Kind of surprising, there's a little water flowing down today. Been a little while since we had any rain, but there is a little water flowing down the branch. The trail actually cuts through here where the water runs. Can be a little slick in areas. Just take your time, watch your footing. This is where it pays to wear good shoes. Like usual, I suggest something with Vibram soles. After we come through this little section right here, I'm going to see if I can find the faint user trail that leads up to the Still, the old Moonshine Still. It's my first time here as well. I think I've picked up the user trail up to the Moonshine Still. This is where the trail comes up from Bearpen Branch. Come uphill just a little bit, and when you look to your left, you can make out a faint user trail cuts off right here next to this tree. Got this little old dead cedar or some type of evergreen leaned up next to it. I'm gonna follow this trail up. cliff line is barely out of sight up there. That's where we'll find the Moonshine Still. As I mentioned, there is a very faint user trail. You might be able to make it out cutting across through here. What you want to do, you can see the cliff line up here. You just want to work your way up towards that cliff line. As you might notice, this is the piece of cliff line I pointed at. And right here is the old Moonshine Still. Got this signage inside with the Moonshine Still. Enjoy but do not destroy your American heritage. Unfortunately, people do destroy things like this, so that's why it's fenced in. But luckily, they have preserved a lot of this, and this is a pretty neat feature that a lot of people don't know about. Here we have an old wooden barrel. Got some other rings from old wooden barrels. Pan around here. Got some old broken whiskey bottles. Got some old rusted out metal barrels. Another wooden barrel. Here we have pieces of the still itself. I think someone once told me that they had filled these with concrete. I guess keep people from stealing the pieces that are still here. Don't know if that's true or not, but pretty cool little piece of history right here. Like the sign says, do not enter. This is kind of one of those off-trail places that you want to take care of. It's got some history behind it. Bearpen Branch Moonshine Still. Got a few cell phone pics and stuff here. Got the sun shining in right on the still. Pretty neat little area. It's my first time here, so you got to make the first trip with me. Now, let's head back down to the trail and go check out Turtleback Arch. Made our way back down the Swift Camp Creek Trail. Right there's where Bearpen Branch comes down. So whenever you get back down here to the trail, you want to make a left and continue to follow up Swift Camp Creek. At just over 1 mile up Swift Camp Creek, come to a bend in the creek here. As you might be able to hear over the crow, there's some water falling. That's the sound of Pooch's Turtle Falls. As dry as it's been, I'm surprised it has any water at all. It's not worth getting down to the base today because I know it don't have very much flow. We'll head over here to the top of the falls though, see if we can give you a look at it. As we get over close to where the drainage comes down to the trail, try to give you a little peek over at the falls here. See the water down there. Zoom in on it a little bit. As you can tell, not very much water coming over today. I've never really caught this falls with much flow on it, but if I can find one of my shots, I'll pop one up. What the falls looks like from below. Pooch's Turtle Falls. The trail comes on around and crosses the top of the feeder stream here to Pooch's Turtle Falls. There's a second little drop up here. As you can tell, not very much flow on it. This is an extremely wet weather falls, so if you ever want to catch this falls at much flow at all, you'll have to come after a really good rain. Anyway, as soon as you cross the feeder to Pooch's Turtle here, you'll see the trail makes its way around to the right, follows on up Swift Camp Creek. We won't be going any further up Swift Camp Creek. As you might be able to make out, a user trail cuts up to the left here. That's the trail that's going to take us up to Turtleback Arch. Might go ahead and mention this is an off-trail section. For whatever reason this year, seems like several people's got lost on Swift Camp Creek Trail. So might familiarize yourself with a good app like Gaia, G-A-I-A. It's what Search and Rescue uses. I use it quite a bit myself. Upload your track. That way you can tell where you've been and things. That way if you get lost and don't know where you're at, you can always backtrack to the trail you started from. Anyway, let's head on up here and check out Turtleback Arch. Shortly after leaving the trail, heading up towards Turtleback Arch, you'll come to this large opening. It's been used as campsites in the past, as you can tell. Here we have a fire ring that looks like it's been recently used. Once you get to this campsite, you want to kind of work your way up through the campsite, kind of diagonal to the left, head up towards the cliff line. As you make your way up from the campsite, you can pick up on a fairly decently beat path. Follows up here to the cliff line. As you reach the cliff line, you'll come up to a rocky point here. You want to kind of work your way up to the left here a little bit. Got a couple options here. It's a little wet today, so I'm gonna skip on option one. You can work your way up this rock here. It's a little bit of a slant to it. Should be fairly easy to manage, but it is a little damp, so I'm gonna pass on that route. Head over here just to the left. I'm working my way up right here where these roots are. Give me a little something to hang on to, a few little footholds. Once you make it up whichever one of those little scrambles you choose, I want to continue to follow this little user trail up through here, as the battle is almost over and we are almost to Turtleback Arch. You'll want to continue to work your way up towards the highest rock outcrop here on this little ridge end. Come up right here, up onto this rock. And right here is the highest point of the rock outcrop. Instead of heading on up there, you see this little slide here goes over to the right. I'm gonna take this, get below this little section of cliff line here. It'll bring us around to Turtleback Arch. And as you come down through that little slot, just want to follow around the cliff line here. Won't take just a second, and you come up on Little Turtleback Arch. As we come on around the corner here, it brings us out at Turtleback Arch. A lot of nice color here in this arch. See if I can get a few shots of the arch while we're here. They don't have their own individual names, but there's a small span here, a little shelf in the arch right here. See my stick come through there. I don't think that's hardly big enough to be an arch. I think it's smaller than 3 feet. But if you look back and under here, there is another opening that is bigger than 3 feet. So there's technically 3 arches here. Looking back up into Turtleback Arch, the patterns in the ceiling here are really cool. Unfortunately, I think the black is from smoke. Take your time, check out Turtleback Arch. Pretty cool little arch. Got a total of 3 openings here that's actually big enough to be considered arches. One of them I don't think has a name. We got Turtleback Arch, little Turtleback Arch here. Take your time, check out the arch. After you get done checking out the arch, just going to backtrack the way we came, back down to Swift Camp Creek Trail. Once you get back to this area, once again, you choose which is easiest for you. Either way, whether you come down right here or right here, I'd suggest not being afraid to do a little butt scoot. Keep your center of gravity low. Just work your way down nice and slow. Pretty easy once we get past this part. Just gonna head back down towards the campsite, back out towards Swift Camp Creek Trail. Made it back down to the Swift Camp Creek Trail. Continues out to the left here. Don't want to go that way. Going to head to the right here, back the way we came. Cross back across this little feeder of Pooch's Turtle Falls. Then we're going to follow Swift Camp Creek Trail back around to the Rockbridge Trail. Really the only part of today's hike that's not easy or for everybody is getting up to Turtleback Arch there. A few little scrambles. I'd say not super hard, but moderate scrambles. You know your abilities. Don't risk injury just to see an arch. If you get over there and don't feel comfortable, just backtrack down to the trail. None of these arches up here worth getting hurt over, I assure you that. Crossing back through where Bearpen Branch becomes part of the trail. From here, we're just under a mile back to the Rockbridge Loop Trail. I'm going to go ahead and try to make some good time back out of here. Hopefully I'll have time to catch some lunch at Lackawanna again. You ever be walking on trail in the gorge and kind of feel like you're in the jungle? I mentioned there earlier about it feeling like in the jungle. I guess I should have mentioned once you get started up Swift Camp Creek here, it goes into the Clifty Wilderness. Coming back up to our trail junction here. This is where we meet back up with the Rockbridge Loop. From this point out to the Moonshine Still, up to Turtleback, and back to this point is right at 3 miles. I haven't had any water yet, so I think I'll drink me a bottle of water before I make this last little trek uphill and back to the parking area. Now for the fun part. Uphill to the parking area. Woohoo! As to be expected on a Friday, Rockbridge Trailhead was getting pretty crazy. As I was getting back to the truck, 6 vehicles was pulling in. So I went ahead and packed up. We'll be closing out today's video from the road. Got to check out some pretty neat stuff today. A couple familiar places. Checked out Creation Falls and Rockbridge. Headed on out Swift Camp Creek. Went and checked out Bearpen Branch Moonshine Still. It's my first time there. Pretty neat little area. Neat little piece of history. Then we headed on out Swift Camp Creek. Checked out Pooch's Turtle Falls and Turtleback Arch. Pretty good little hike. Round trip, a little over 4 miles. Good little adventure. Hope you enjoyed it. If you would, give me a like. If you enjoyed the channel, appreciate the support. If you would, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching.